And I think that regardless, I think you all agree that the medical center has grown remarkably. And I hope that you will have time. I don't know, I think probably it is in the schedule, not only to tour the medical campus here, but to see the new orthopedics campus in Henrietta, which is the largest offsite building in the history of the university. And I think that probably going forward, we will see more and more of our outpatient services take in that area. You know, I think we're watching an incredible transition in business in the United States, and I think what was the flagship mall of the Rochester area no longer. We've taken over the Sears building, and that Sears building, you know, was nice. It was large enough for us to reconstruct that with our operating rooms. Still wanting to see what happens with Macy's. And while J.C. Penney's is alive and well, I don't think it's well. So I think that we almost have to reimagine that for Rochester as a wonderful site for our outpatient services, and help hopefully support the businesses around there that are still thriving. At the medical center, I think for those who have not been back, please take a look. We have a new cancer center, a gorgeous Golisano Children's Hospital, and we have 3 research buildings, the Kornberg building, the Del Monte, and the Saunders, which holds our Clinical Translation Science Institute. I know that for many of you, at the time of your graduation, the plans for the construction of Strong Memorial Hospital were really just being formalized. I remember when I was looking for my internship, one of the places that I applied to was the University of Rochester, and I was looking at it in '77. At that time, Strong Memorial Hospital was probably the most beautiful new hospital in the country. It's almost getting 50 years from that, and now it's still quite pretty and it's still quite functional, but we're building a new one, and we're preparing. So pretty much just like what you went through, we're preparing now for the construction of a new facility. The actual construction will begin in 2023. You may see all sorts of equipment around the area because we're doing enabling projects, such as moving the loading dock, getting rid of what was probably at that time called Staff House, and doing some other things so that we can actually create the construction. What that will allow us to do is to quadruple the size of the emergency room. You know, I think that even our emergency room was built for 50,000 people, but with the closing of Genesee Hospital and St. Mary's, we immediately had an emergency room that was too small. Right now, we're seeing about 130,000 people, and because of issues with staffing, probably have 50 to 100 patients staying in the emergency room waiting for beds. So this will quadruple the size. Every patient will have a private room, which I think is very important. And it will allow our hospital to have all private rooms and expand. And we've been running over 100% occupancy for 5 years. So I think the parallels are great. You were at the beginning of a new hospital, but not quite. We're at the beginning of a new hospital 50 years later. I think one thing that has not changed is the biopsychosocial model. I think this was the root of education at the University of Rochester and remains so. We have tended to keep ourselves a small school. We're still probably in the bottom quarter in terms of size, but in the top quarter in terms of the amount of faculty per student. And I think that one of the things that we remain very proud of is that our students get more face time with patients than probably anywhere else in the country. And I think that's something that you experienced and has always been the hallmark of the biopsychosocial model. And it's something that we're very proud of. Our research has grown remarkably. Now involves roughly 600 investigators and an additional 2,500 people, and brings in about $250 million a year. So it's and even the structures that we have are now not large enough to really deal with that. So we've got to grow there as well. I really want to thank your two classes for providing, as part of the 50th reunion, $4.8 million in support of student scholarships and our academic programs. More than ever, as we grow, the School of Medicine and Dentistry relies on philanthropy to support our students, our research, our education. The 50th reunion medallion ceremony is another Rochester tradition. It offers the school an opportunity to really acknowledge and salute the careers and the lives of our distinguished alumni. And so, I think this is something that we started a number of years ago and look forward to every year. We missed it the last 2 years and are glad you're back so that we can restart what I think is a wonderful ceremony. So I would like to invite the class of 1970 agent, Dr. Jonathan Samet, to the podium to receive the first medallion for the class and then to acknowledge the others. So these are photo ops.
Thank you, Mark. I actually have to comment that if you think about it, it's actually for the class of 70, it's 56 years since we met. Think about that. That's a long time. And I think still we all hold to many memories in common. If I said the name Tobin or Ziegler or Romano, I'm sure for everyone a face and an interaction will come to mind. Or if I said Engel, for sure. So there's a long list, and we had an incredibly intense set of shared experiences and growth. And I think, as Mark alluded to, we were all imprinted in ways that hopefully benefited our patients and health in general. So my job is to read the names of those who are here. And when I do, you are to come up and, oops, that's a name tag, get a medal. So with that, John Deacon. And Tony DeMarco. Dave Dubner.
I'm used to that. We give our job professors medals, and we've had several recently who were 6'4", but they've learned to kneel.
John Record.
I will say actually that with COVID and the Zooms, you can have these meetings for 2 years and everybody looks the same size. And then you meet them and you realize that you actually get up to about their neighbor.
Jack Rowe.
See how things change. What was it about? I don't know, 35 years ago, 30 years ago, you were maybe me.
Chip Saylor. Oh. And O.J. Saylor. Let me get out of the picture.
No.
And he said, "Are you guys related?"
And Richard Simon. Ah. Yes. Come on, Richard. That is Richard. Yeah. And Peter is here. Peter Rubin. Peter, good to see you. And let me check. Anybody else missed? Okay, so now I have the sad duty of reading the names of those classmates who are not with us. Fortunately, not many, but time has taken its toll. Richard Bolt, Peter Bueller, Gordon Grundy, Barry Haken, Chester Herman, John Lim, George Monroe, Don Sweeney, Jim Ward, Richard Warland, and Stephen Zareski.
So now I ask Ira Schultzen to come up and to present the medals to the class of 71. Ira.
Thanks, Mark. Just a few brief thoughts I'll share. We've been working on organizing this reunion for some time, so we've had a chance to discuss it amongst ourselves, reminisce, and go back. I think there are 3 themes that I'd like to share. And as John Samet mentioned, we met in 67, although we graduated in 71, most of us. And that was a fairly turbulent time. And the Vietnam War had a major impact in general on all of us, not just as classmates, but as citizens too. And I think it helped in a way, it fashioned our career paths for some time. And as we thought back on it, I think it probably applies certainly to the class of 70 also. The second piece that we all have shared in common was the importance of role models. And this was mentioned before. Certainly this was the golden age of biopsychosocial medicine as it emerged as a major knowledge base, not just as a conceptualization. And it had a very big impact on us and prompted us to develop a scholarship in the name of George Engel, and also in the name of Bill Morgan. Others were involved, John Romano, Jim Bartlett, Paul Greiner, as important role models for us, and that also fashioned our careers. And I think the third thing that was and still remains important is what some people refer to as the industrialization of medicine that we have witnessed and been part of for the next 50 years, and is still going on, for better or worse. And it's something that whether we were in academic medicine, private practice, military, or government, has certainly affected us, and it has a pervasive influence on us. So I'll share that with you. Those are the thoughts that we have at the time of our 50th reunion. And I'll just close with those remarks. Yeah, so I'll read the names of my classmates who are here today. I'll start with Paul Bellett. And Rick Buck.
As I saw Chip and OJ go up there, I wish that my wife Virginia was still alive and could go up with me at the same time, but it's nice to see you folks.
And David Campbell. Dave. And John Grossman. Yeah. This is from the extra. And I'll read the names of those who are deceased. Alan Babcock, Ginny, Virginia Mary Buck, Boswell, Merle Cunningham, John Friedberg, Alan Keltz, Oksana Korzanowski, Gary Lamphere, Ken Leeper, Don Seidel, John Stewart, and Joel Weidlitz.